Gozaimasu, my Tomodachis. Buenas noches, amiga, amigos. Good day, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, I guess, in some places. Today I am going to talk about an emotional hijacking I had. I was trying to think of something that talk about today, and it's pretty obvious, something that I came across. So many years ago in school, I studied what Daniel Goleman wrote about in emotional intelligence. And he calls it EQ, emotional IQ. So what he's talking about is it's more, and I've got to reread the book because it's been years since I think it was my master's several years ago. And what he talks about is how it's really better to have an emotional intelligence instead of a higher IQ. So instead of being brain smart, basically, it's better to train yourself in emotional intelligence. And so it all came back to me because yesterday I didn't exercise very good emotional intelligence, and I've been so much better on that. So used to be back in the day, probably wasn't very long ago either. I don't know, when something came up, and I don't know, it could have to do with a lot of things, but I'll use this example because that's what happened yesterday is so this is what it was. For a few years now, I've been using a certain company, and I won't use their name, but to spray my yard, bug spray, fertilizer, things like that. And so I've been using them for a couple of years, but then I decided, it's a little too expensive. I'm just going to do it myself. I'm going to fertilize myself, do the bug stuff myself, all that. So I let him know, I'm like, I don't want you to spray my yard anymore. And I let him know January of 2020. So I said, stop doing it. Don't do anymore because I'm doing my own. And so I called him, and you think that that's good enough. But I didn't realize, but they were still doing it. And and it's kind of expensive. And so one day the guy pulls up outside and sprays, and I'm like, stop. I called them because he had already done it by the time I saw it. My neighbor saw it, and I'm like, I told you I don't want you to spray because I'm already doing my own fertilizing. I'm already doing my own spray, and I don't need more. I mean, you just, and it's $40. Oh, what is it? I don't know. $40, $50 every time they do it. So I thought I made myself clear, but evidently, don't ask me. I just got a bill for $140 some saying that they did it 4 times last year, and I didn't approve of any of it. And I didn't just get the bill yesterday. I had the bill before, and I have been calling them, and they don't seem to have very good. I don't know if it's their staff or policies or what's happening, but I've had problems with them in the past on my billing and when I paid. And they're not making good bookkeeping sense or something. So that's one of the reasons I stopped using them as well, because they don't seem to know when I paid and when I didn't. They've always been pretty nice, but the company here actually went through another one in Utah, so I would have to call both places. So I did call, and I did email to stop completely and don't do this. Well, they went ahead and did it 4 times, evidently, during the year that I didn't know about. And so I called and I said, I told you guys I didn't want this service, so I'm not paying for it. You guys, I told you no. And I said, please take me off your records. I don't want you coming out here anymore. So nobody called, nobody said anything. When I did talk to the person last year in the spring, she said, okay, yeah, we've got it noted. Nobody's going to come out. We'll take your bill. You won't be billed for what you've already done. That'll be off the books. So I thought it was okay. Well, a lady called yesterday. She's like, yeah, we're getting ready to spray again for the spring, and we wanted to settle up your account that I have in front of me. And for some reason, I'm like, it's the same lady I called last year and said I don't want to do it. And for some reason, my emotions just got the better of me. I don't know if it's because I've been under a lot of stress, doing a lot of work, but I sort of thought that I thought I was at a good place where I didn't fly off the handle, but for some reason, I don't know what it was. I think it might have been that this lady who was on the phone wouldn't listen to me. She would not listen to me. And I said, I don't want you guys spraying. And she's like, well, I don't have any notes on you ever saying that. And I'm like, great. So I flew off the handle. I got emotionally hijacked. I did. I am embarrassed. I'm embarrassed about doing it. Right after the call, gosh, I got so upset. And for me, so I did download a good article on it, but it has an illustration of what actually happens in our brain when that takes over. And I'm like, so I got really angry and started talking really loud to her. I said, I was talking really loud. It was just intense. And usually I don't do that. And I don't know what happened. Not sure what happened. I think it's because I got a bill for $140 some and I didn't approve any of it. And I said, I told you guys I didn't want any of this done. And she said, well, we don't have you saying that. And so we're going to just have to take you to collections and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know. I said something like, well, that's fine. I'll just write the Better Business Bureau, the Attorney General or something. I didn't approve any of the invoices that they're saying I did. I didn't approve of any of that. So I don't know. The way I reacted, I was ashamed of myself. And so I started thinking about it. I'm like, what happened? And, by reacting that way, what good did that do? None. I sort of got in a yelling match she didn't say a whole lot after that. She's like, well, I'm going to have to let the owner know. And I said, that's fine. What is the owner's name, first and last name? I'm going to get a hold of her. And then she wouldn't give me her name. And it was silly. It was so silly. I'm so embarrassed that I let my emotions get the best of me. Afterwards, I'm like my whole inside, my stomach I was just, your temperature rises and you're just really angry. And I'm like, why did I react that way? That was dumb. So I don't know. Do you think it has something to do it might have something to do with money as well, because I'm trying to be conservative. I'm trying to get all my things paid off. $150, 140 some. That's quite a bit. And whereas I'm trying to pay off everything so I can, I'm putting money into the house, and I'm trying to get, especially where I said not to do it. So, and I was upset for most of the day because of it. And why do we allow that? So I'm like, well, maybe we'll talk about emotional hijacking today and what happens. Holy moly. Why did and now I feel like what I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and see if I have emails, because I think I do have emails saying stop spraying my yard. And I talked to people in Salt Lake, and she's saying they're not associated with them anymore. So I don't know. It's not worth the battle, though. That's what my thoughts are. So I am going to go into their office. I'm going to write up a sheet of paper and say, I do not want these services anymore. And I want them to sign it, because I have a feeling, and I looked online, like this company has gotten a lot of bad reviews about doing that very thing. So I don't know if it's some way for them to get so that people won't disconnect the services. So they just say they didn't know, or if it's just really sloppy office work. But it's very irritating. So they have a lot of bad reviews online. And so, but I'm just going to go in with any evidence I have and just say, look, this is, show me where I said I approved of these 4 times you came out to my house, because I told you not to do it. And in fact, it kind of had me worried, because I had already fertilized. So I'm like, what if they're over fertilizing, right? Or spraying more bug stuff than I need. So, that's what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna give it a couple days, because for me, if I'll give it overnight, I should have just not said anything. I should have just held my cool and said, you know what, I'll just come in and talk to the owner, and see if I can work some deal out. If not, I'll probably just pay it. I don't want to, but maybe we can make some kind of deal. I know businesses are hurting for money. But to me, they're not running their business legitimately, and I don't like it. It kind of gets in my skin, it kind of irritates me, but it's not my battle to fight. And, I'm just going to go ahead and go over there and talk to them, at least have them sign a form that for sure they have been notified that I do not want them spraying, because I feel like they're going to start doing it again, and then they're going to say I authorized it. So, and do you want to fight, through court or whatever? I don't. So I was a little embarrassed, though, and I thought, gosh, what the heck? You're old enough to not respond that way. And what happened? I don't know if I was just off center because I was a little bit stressed out when the call came in, or, a little bit stressed out because I just ordered countertops, and, you got all that expense, and I don't know. I'm not sure, but I did go ahead and do some quotes just because I liked it. So this is one of the quotes. It's by Ray Dalio, it looks like. When you're centered, your emotions are not hijacking you. And then I started thinking about it. And I thought I could steal some of that quote and say, when you have a strong foundation, in other words, when your spirituality, when your goal setting and your professional development are strong, then your emotions will not allow you to hijack it. And I thought mine were pretty strong. I thought I'd been doing good, but they hijacked me nonetheless. And I reacted stupidly. Now, back in the day, I have to say, when I reacted that way and got really loud and angry and threatening and all that, I used to think I used to think it was the right thing to do. And I'm like, because I think it's probably, just thinking back on it, I think it's kind of a bully thing to do, is to get mad and threaten. And I used to like that about me because people would back down. So I'm pretty good at confrontation. And so I would get very confrontational and then fight. Like as far as even go to prove my point and go to court over it. I mean, I don't think it's right what they're doing, but is it worth throwing a big fit and all of that? No. I'm like I said, I'm very embarrassed that I lost my stuff. So when you have a strong foundation, your emotions will not be hijack you. So that's what I kind of rewrote the quote, stole it a little bit. This is what I thought. So I also found a funny little article. It was a sort of a comic strip that I thought went well with today. And it says, yes, I think I have good people skills. What kind of an idiot question was that to ask? I thought that was cute. It reminded me, just all of a sudden, it reminded me of, oh, I don't remember the show now. All in the Family, Archie Bunker. He used to be so brash, the things he said, but that's kind of what I was thinking of. Or even the 70s show, the dad on there would always say, what a dumbass thing to say. It kind of reminded me of that. But okay, so the next quote is from Aristotle, and I actually got it from Daniel Goleman's book, Emotional Intelligence. I studied this in my master's level class, and I really liked what it had to say, and it helped me see a new perspective. I haven't read it for a while, so I don't know I need to read it again, so I kind of have the gist of the whole book. But this is one of the quotes out of the book, and it says, anyone can become angry. That is easy. Yikes. But to be angry with the right person to the right person, I'm sorry, let's start over. But to be angry with the right person to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. Yeah, I don't know. To be angry at all, is that the right read? Especially when you're dealing as a professional, what I did wasn't professional. How I acted was silly. And part of it was because it's the way that she was acting, and she wasn't listening to me, and she was arguing with me, and I just, I'm more of a fighter than flighter. And in certain circumstances, I just hold my own, and it's that anyway. That's not good. I'm embarrassed, so I do want to apologize for the way I acted. And I'm gonna have to go over. I'm just gonna have to go over the store, write up an agreement, and make sure they sign it and date it, because I don't want this happening anymore. Because I feel like they're doing it sort of as a bad business practice, but I could be wrong. Maybe they just aren't that good at business. I don't know what the case is, but I haven't had the best of luck. So that's why I'm talking about this today. So this is another quote that I found. Elizabeth Thornton is her name. And it's sort of, and then I'm going to do sort of an article that says how to control your emotions, so your emotions don't control you. How mine did. They were hijacked big time. So most of us know when we're about to react emotionally. I think we do know that, but it happens pretty quick. Like, it happened quick with me. Just one trigger. We can feel it. Often there is a brief warning before the amygdala hijack. So I did look up where the brain actually, what happens inside the brain, because I find it fascinating. Just, you know, to kind of go through and see what chemicals are reacting and why did I get angry like that? So for some of us, it is butterflies in the stomach. For some, it is an increased heart rate. And for others, it's a feeling of agitation. I think it was all three. Seriously. But I don't remember, I don't remember the warning sign, the butterfly stomach, heart rate, except as it was happening. Like it sort of happened so quick, I didn't stop it. It just happened. So I don't know if I don't. So how do you stop it before it happens? How do you go, ooh, this is happening quick? Practice. Okay, so this is what happens when there's an emotional hijacking, the actual happenings within your body, what's happening. So when this happens, choice disappears and reactions come in normally in one of two categories: fight, immediate attack, or threaten. That's exactly what happened. Flight, withdraw, accommodate, or avoid. No, that's not what happened. So it says, and it shows the intensity of emotions. And this is like at an 8 intensity. And it says the threshold line. Once this line is crossed, emotions take control and limit our choices and behavior. This happens unconsciously and is a strategy for keeping us safe or getting our needs met. It's an emotional hijacking. So what's happening in the human brain? So the neurocortex, the part of the brain most recent in evolution, is associated with complex thought. Prefrontal lobes, the brain's executive center, integrates information from all parts of the brain and makes decisions to act. So it sounds like the prefrontal lobes were involved. Thalamus process sensory messages, eyes and ears, then routes them mainly to the cortex. Amygdala sounds like is a lot of where the action's happening. Triggers emotional responses. Typically gets signals from the neocortex, but a quicker and fuzzier signal comes directly from the thalamus. Can hijack the brain when it perceives an emergency. I'm not sure why that was an emergency, but the most brain stem is the most primitive part of the brain, in association predominantly with automatic reflexes as well as memory and learning. It could have, I guess it could have came from sort of my memory, because I have dealt with them before and they just don't listen to me. It just sort of makes me angry because I said, I don't know. I just feel like it's shady. You know what I mean? It's not done in good taste business wise. Okay, so how can we sharpen our emotional regulation skills to make ourselves be mentally stronger? Okay. Have you ever said something out of anger that you regret later? Do you let fear talk you out of taking the risks that you could really benefit you? If so, no, I never do that. But yes, I do regret saying things. So emotions are powerful. Your mood determines how you interact with people, how you deal with challenges, and how you spend your time. Gaining control over your emotions will help you become mentally stronger. Fortunately, anyone can become better at regulating their emotions. Just like any other skill, managing your emotions requires practice and dedication. I'm okay unless it's something triggers. That was a trigger for me. I don't know. So it's what they're saying is it's good to experience uncomfortable emotions, but don't stay stuck in them. So at least I was pretty upset after this all happened, but at least I was able to shake it off. You know how you something happens and then your emotions are like there the whole day and it just bugs you and stuff. At least I was able to shake it off and say, "Oh, why? Oh boy, um, I'm not mad anymore." But today, after I slept on it today, I did feel bad. I'm like, "You reacted badly, and I need to take care of it in a professional manner." Managing your emotions isn't the same as suppressing them. Ignoring your sadness or pretending you don't feel pain won't make these emotions go away. Um, Unaddressed emotions wounds are likely to get worse over time, and there's a good chance suppressing your feelings will cause you to turn to unhealthy coping skills like food and alcohol. We don't want to do that. Um, See, I think what I should have done is just went over there last year and had them sign something that said that they would stop spraying. But I don't know. I figured they got the message. Like I said it to numerous people and they kept saying, "Okay, we know. We'll take you off the books." And then okay. It's important to acknowledge your feelings while also recognizing your emotions don't have control over you. If you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you can take control of your mood and turn your day around. If you're angry, you can choose to calm yourself down. Here are 3 ways to gain better control over your mood. I don't think I woke up on the wrong side of the bed, but I've been a little stressed over getting stuff done, yesterday was a good day. I'm making good headway. So label your emotions. Before you can change how you feel, you need to acknowledge what you're experiencing right now. Are you nervous? Do you feel disappointed? Are you sad? Keeping, and that's hard. I've never really been able to label my emotions. I think mostly I felt unheard, and that I don't trust what they're saying. Before you can change how you feel, you need to acknowledge what you're experiencing. Are you nervous? Did you feel disappointed or sad? Keep in mind that anger sometimes mass emotions that feel vulnerable, like shame or embarrassment. So pay close attention to what's really going on inside you. Put a name on your emotions. Keep in mind you might feel a whole bunch of emotions at once, like anxious, frustrated, and impatient. Labeling how you feel can take a lot of sting out of the emotion. It can also help you take careful note of how these feelings are likely to affect your decision. I guess at least maybe I am getting better emotional intelligence because before I would have acted differently. That's the first thing I thought. Well, write up a document, send it to the Attorney General, contact the Better Business Bureau, all those things. And I was just like, how about if I just go in and try to see what we can work out, and talk it through. I don't know. Maybe that won't be possible because if they're shady, it might just make me more mad. So I'm going to try though. At least I have a document signed that says they won't do any more work at my house. Reframe your thoughts. So your emotions affect the way you perceive events. If you're feeling anxious and you get an email from the boss that says she wants to see you right away, you might assume you're going to get fired. Goodness. If, however, you're feeling happy when you get that same email, your first thought might be that you're going to get promoted. So reframing what you're thinking. So I guess even so, reframe so look at it as, I'll go in and maybe it was, maybe they're just overwhelmed or something and we can work something out and it'll be fine. Consider the emotional filter you're looking at the world through. Then reframe your thoughts to develop a more realistic view. If you catch yourself thinking, that's also why I'm going to wait until next week because I'm still a little bit upset about it. So I'm going to let that pass. and just try to be more logical than emotional. If you catch yourself thinking this networking event is going to be a complete waste of time, no one is going to talk to me and I'm going to look like an idiot, remind yourself, it's up to me to get everything out of the event. I'll introduce myself to new people and show interest in learning about them. Sometimes the easiest way to gain a different perspective is to take a step back and ask yourself, what would I say to a friend who had this problem? Answering that question will take some of the emotion out of the equation. Yeah. So I think I'm handling it the right way. Part of me wants to tell others, though, what they're doing. I don't think it's right. Another way to try and diffuse your emotions is to do a quick physical activity like going for a walk, cleaning off your desk. And I did, I just started working on my kitchen and I quickly forgot it. Engage in a mood buster. When you're in a bad mood, you're likely to engage in activities that keep you in that state of mind. Isolating yourself, mindlessly scrolling through your phone, or complaining to people around you who are just a few of the typical go to bad mood behaviors. First thing I thought is I need to tell my neighbor, because I think she used the same company or another one that was too expensive. And so, we were talking about it last year. And in fact, she goes, they just sprayed again. I said, I know, I've been calling and calling them. So think of the things you do when you feel happy. Do those things when you're in a bad mood and you'll start to feel better. Here are a few examples of mood boosters. Call a friend to talk about something pleasant, not to continue complaining. Go for a walk, meditate for a few minutes, listen to uplifting music. And I usually do my YouTube blog, positive stuff, how to evolve and move forward and all those things. Practice your emotional regulation skills. Managing your emotions is tough at times. And there will likely be a specific emotion like anger that sometimes gets the best of you. But the more time and attention you spend on regulating your emotions, the mentally stronger you'll become. You'll gain confidence in your ability to handle discomfort while also knowing that you can make healthy choices that shift your mood. And my husband was always so good at being he was very calm and handled things. He didn't blow up like that. I used to get really upset about things like that. There are plenty of things we can't control. The weather, our children, traffic, and love are just a few, but we do control the meaning we take away from the events. Meaning connects to our larger life blueprint. It's a way to either give up control of our lives or accept responsibility. And that's what I did think. At least when it was all over, I felt bad the way that I handled it. And I need to think about the next time. Let's let's take Tony inviting some of his friends to his place in Fiji. It's a lush tropical paradise with sun and sand. It's also raining. So Tony wants everything to be perfect for his friends, but he's miserable because life doesn't match what he perceives as the ideal. But when his friends arrive, they love the warm rain and immediately start splashing around in it. They're completely happy, even if the place doesn't look like a postcard. They had no expectations of perfect weather. They just knew they were having a good time. By attaching a negative meaning to what was going on, Tony let his emotions run the show. Gosh, I used to be like that. Like Tony. I'm so glad I'm not like that anymore, I hope. It just surprised me the way I reacted yesterday. Wow. When you learn how to control your emotions, you can derive more positive, productive meanings, even from seemingly negative events. Let's stick with the Fiji example. What emotions are now flying around? Tony believes he needs to create a certain kind of environment for his friends to be happy. He's got an image of what ideal sunny, and even though he knows no one can control the weather, he's still frustrated. So instead of enjoying his friends, he's stuck in a bad mood. Ugh. I used to do that. Meanwhile, his friends are having a great time. They're not at all disappointed, but maybe they're a little confused as to why Tony seems unhappy. So even though everyone is experiencing the rain, the meaning they're attached to it has caused completely different emotional response. When you set out to master your emotions, it's critical to understand that they are your emotions. They belong to you. By letting your emotions run the show and attaching negative meaning to them, we can damage our relationship and our lives. When you step back and react emotionally to circumstances, you allow the world to happen to you instead of for you. So what can you do to regain emotional control or prevent yourself from losing it? Change the meaning and change the emotion. The reverse also holds true. Change the emotion and you'll change the meaning. Another key factor in the cycle of meaning is what words you use. What do you feel when someone says that you're mistaken? Right. What about if they say you're wrong? Chances are that you don't feel very good, no matter your level of emotional control. And that's just you thinking about it, not it's actually happening. Yeah, oh gosh. I could have done so many different things yesterday instead of reacting the way I did. Okay, how to control your emotions. So this is some of the steps in doing it. Take a deep breath. So next time you're faced with a situation that elicits strong feelings from you, pause to consider what meaning you're going to attach to it. That's the hardest part, is thinking about it before you go into all these weird, triggered responses. So take a deep breath. Instead of reacting right away, whether positive or negatively, give yourself a moment to process what just happened. So at least I am thinking about waiting until I'm over it to go in and take a sheet and have them sign it. Because I thought about going today. I'm like, no, I'm still probably a little bit annoyed at what all happened and the money part of it, I think. Find out what you're feeling. It's easy to say I'm feeling angry because they hurt me. Dig deeper. Are you angry because you're afraid they're right? Are you sad? Emotions are complex and often piggyback into one another. I think it's the cost. It's expensive, you know. And my budget's getting tight, and that's why I canceled it last year, is I couldn't afford it because it's pretty expensive. Replace negative thoughts. If your mind goes straight to how you've been wronged or how terrible everything is, divert yourself. Dwelling on negativity will only make you more prone to it. So focus on positive emotions. Change your thoughts and change your story. That's why I'm like, at least if I go in and have them sign it, they won't continue doing it, because it's this time of year they start spraying again. And before I know it, they're going to do it, and then they're going to want me to pay for it. Channel your energy. Human emotions are incredibly powerful. Let that energy go by participating in some sort of physical activity, going for a run or walk, or shooting some hoops. Explore your emotions. Why do you feel the way you do? Journaling or talking with a trusted friend or family member can help you understand why you're feeling what you do. Once you understand an emotion, it's that much easier to control it. I don't know if yeah. When you feel a certain way, you do certain things. Our patterns of behavior, from negative ones like smoking to positive ones like going to the gym, all stem from our desire to meet some of our 6 human needs. The meanings we've assigned, the feelings we have. The pattern then becomes our life story, what we tell ourselves about who we are and why we are that way. Instead of practicing emotional control, we likely feel adrift and powerless. Well, we can't control the triggers we encounter in our lives. We can control the meanings we extract from the event that occurred. Therefore, controlling our feelings and more broadly our lives. If you're trying to make a change in your life, examine what meanings you already have. then make new ones. Emotional control is all about making the meaning you want. Otherwise, you'll continue to repeat old patterns and not make any lasting change. So this is the formula. We can reduce the cycle of meaning's complexity to a single formula. Meaning equals emotion equals life. So if you're looking to change your mood, change the meaning you're taking from the triggering event. When you ask yourself, how can I control my emotions? What you're really asking is, how can I assign positive meaning to this event? Instead of letting negative feelings linger. You have the power to shift your mindset and improve your life, because life is happening for you, not to you. So, okay, I'm going to have to, at least I don't feel like I'm swallowing my pride going over there and apologizing. I feel like it's the right thing to do and the professional thing to do. And just try to work something out so that, I don't know, I don't feel I should have to pay the bill. But in the end, I might just do it. And as long as they don't continue spraying, which makes me, that's what makes me angry, is they're not listening to me. And I already told them that. So when you're centered, or when you have a strong foundation, hopefully your emotions are not hijacking you. We can hope. Well, okay, I think that's all I have today, guys. It's Friday already. This week has gone really fast. I had a pretty productive week. Very productive. So it's April 2nd already. I have promised to meet all your needs according to my glorious riches. Your deepest, most constant need is for my peace. I have planted peace in the garden of your heart, where I live, but there are weeds growing there too. Yeah, pride, worry, selfishness, unbelief. I am the gardener, and I'm working to rid your heart of those weeds. I do my work in various ways. When you sit quietly with me, I shine the light of my presence directly into your heart. In this heavenly light, peace grows abundantly and weeds shrivel up. I also send trials into your life. When you trust me in the midst of trouble, peace flourishes and weeds die away. Thank me for troublesome situations. The peace they can produce far outweighs the trials you endured. Philippians 4:19, 2 Corinthians 4:17. And with that, my good friends, my good Tomodachi's, I think I'm going to call it a week and say have a beautiful weekend with family and friends. Enjoy your weather. We're having beautiful, terrific weather, getting into the 70s. And be blessed. Be blessed. Much love goes out to you all. I was going to end it. Before I end, subscribe, like, ring the bell, leave comments for me, ask me about anything you want me to research, and I'll be here on Monday. Much love.